Truth is, it's hard to always know what to do. Because everyone has a shadow side. We have the side of us that convinces us to cling to our darkness because it seems safer and more comfortable, more familiar. And then we have the other side of us that is aspiring, feeling inspired, having moments of brilliance. And it's hard to find a way to balance the two because we all want to heal from the past and make these breakthroughs, but it isn't easy and it's confusing to know the right way to turn sometimes. We have to form a deep connection to the language of our heart, and we have to fearlessly keep coming back to our hearts if we want the answer, because it's not going to be easy whatever we do, and there is no right or wrong. There is just how much love can we generate from inside so that we can feel the peace that we need to feel so that we can make the right decisions in our life and know which way to turn and know which path to pick and know which master to serve. Because we do have the two sides, the left and the right, the dark and the light, and we do have different parts of ourselves that have different ideas about how things should be and that want to go in different directions. And those directions can be justifiable. Those directions can be valid, but sometimes different parts of us are warring for different things, different solutions, different outcomes. So finding a way to consolidate and make peace within ourselves so that we feel a harmony and a flow, that all our decisions are leading to the place of progress for ourselves, to the place of healing for ourselves, and not that we are listening again to those dark voices of the shadow convincing us to fall back into old familiar patterns, because momentarily we might get some relief by believing that the right thing to do is let ourselves be convinced that repeating old patterns is somehow going to have a different result this time, because it won't. And it's only a matter of time before we build up the strength again and try to break through again. And the most important thing we can do at times like that is simply to observe our behavior and watch our patterns, because after enough time we're going to see, this is what I do, objectively speaking. I am not this person, but this person is doing these things, and I see now that I might need to step in with a little more awareness and mother or father myself and guide myself to behave a little differently this time and not be so reactive and impulsive, so that I can gain a greater understanding of what I'm dealing with. Because when the energy starts to transform us, it might feel great sometimes, other times it may feel challenging, threatening, or uncomfortable. When it feels uncomfortable, it's because we're just about to break through, and that's the time when people take a step back and fall back. That's generally how it goes. But for the few of us that can conjure up the devotion, doesn't matter to what, the devotion is something that represents a higher power for you. Through chanting, through prayer, through stillness, through Mother Nature. Just coming back to the devotion in our heart and the appreciation for the people around us and what we actually do have right now. And for the appreciation that we even have any spiritual aspirations whatsoever. And for the devotion to the path of love for ourselves. And to the devotion to something beyond just what we see before our eyes, the mundane, this gross, dense reality that we are serving, that we are selling ourselves to, that we are being consumed by and consuming. Our life is a magical thing. We don't have to do magical spells to be in the magic of it all. We just have to switch gears and change channels and get out of the dumbed down, grosser way of seeing reality and start to see reality for what it really is, which is divine. All the players in our lives, all the actors on the stage, all the sets, all the stages are all divine, and we are the hero of this. And how is the hero grown? What will the hero do? Where will the hero go this time? So for our life to be victorious, there must be a greater calling that we serve. The greater calling of our soul, the greater calling of what life could be. The truth is, We all fear death because we fear the unknown. This is something we can't control. And so the smaller deaths that we encounter in times of required transformation to advance to the next level are also symbolic of death to that shadow, deep part of ourselves that is protecting us, to where we also fear that because it is so unfamiliar. So practicing letting go and practicing getting familiar with letting death be, letting the unknown be unknown. Quit trying to force things to go our way. Surrender, trust, tune in to your heart. Because this is where the answers are. This is where the magic is. Magic literally means the realm of the mother. What is the mother? The mother is the moonlight. The mother is all form. The mother, the divine mother, is all form that we see. And that form will become what it is based on how we see it, because it is about our consciousness. And if we're looking at something one day that inspires us and we're loving and devoted to it, and the next day we're depressed and we're down, it's not because anything changed. It's because we are projecting, we are putting our ideas and our feelings onto something because that's what we need. We need a target. So when we're confused and when the paths are intersecting and when we're at a crossroads and when the answer is not clear and when our life is in shambles, or it feels like it is because of the disruption of the stirring and everything going in different directions because of this awakening and this life, this extra life within us that can feel really scary, we need to realize that above all of that is the light of our aspiration and what motivates us and what inspires us and what brought us here in the first place. What made you think of God in the first place? Because not everybody does. What made you wonder about what more is there? Because not everybody does. What made you close your eyes and look for the light within? Because not everybody does. So you are at a karmic crossroads. And the karmic crossroads is that it is spirit over matter. It is how to bring the two together. It is to bring the spirit into the matter. And that is what magic is that we see the spirit inside of the mundane. And we do that through devotion because everyone is God. Everyone is that light, including our own shadow. And it isn't easy because the shadow is compelling. This dark energy, these bad habit patterns, this karmic pull of the ancestors is very convincing, very familiar, very comfortable, very compelling. And even when it's self-destructive, it is still what we know. It is still who we think we are. And we still are going through our motions just the way an apple tree grows apples. If we let ourselves fall in line and we don't do something, we will produce what we've been producing. We will become our karma, and we will keep doing the same thing over and over and over again. And we will die, and we will come back, and we will do it over and over and over again. And how we change is that something steps in, divine providence, divine grace. It makes us see that there is another way. But that other way is not something that we're advanced at because we're learning. That's why we're here on earth. But the other way gains its momentum, gains its velocity, the more devotion we put into it. The less we stop letting ourselves think and get dark and question and doubt, the more love, because you'll feel what the truth is by how you feel. You know the truth in your heart. And I'm not saying don't be wise, don't be logical at times, but in the end, you feel what is right. Just because something feels scary doesn't mean it's not right. But it's challenging, it's different territory. But to believe in oneself is what it's going to take. And when you believe in yourself, it's because you have tuned in to something that is actually you, that feels bigger than you, which is a higher power. We change the things we can. We pray for the wisdom to know the difference, and we let go of what we cannot change. And what we cannot change? We cannot change that we will die, but we can change our relationship with death. And that starts with by the decisions we're making now and how we let ourselves be influenced by the dark and the light sides of our mind, because we all have it. And this is what yoga is. Yoga creates balance out of the instability of the condition we face on planet Earth. We practice yoga. We don't practice it once and become stable. We keep practicing yoga. And that is how we gain our stability and footing in this world. And does that mean we won't fall? Does that mean we'll walk around in bliss and nothing will bother us and we'll always know we made the right choice? No. It means we are committed to a higher power because we have understood that nothing is to be gained by circling in the ruts that our ancestors and our past actions have created for us. Whatever fame and fortune we get, we are still going to live with ourselves. And ourselves is where the happiness is. Deep inside is where the transformation is occurring. The Kundalini energy is throwing off everything that we think we need to do to show us who we are. Because all these things are creating limitations for us. And to tear away our crutches, even though those crutches are terrible habits anyway, is terrifying and painful. So we have to love ourselves and be within ourselves and embrace ourselves and not be disassociated from ourselves, while at the same time having a realistic and objective understanding of where we might be. And that's where it helps to have spiritual guidance and spiritual mentors. That's where it helps to have a spiritual practice, because we expand our consciousness and we are able to see things from a different light and in a different way so that we can work toward getting a different result. And little by little by little, we heal our lives and the lives of anyone around us. And it is not easy. What is easier to do is to fall by the wayside like everyone else. What is easier to do is to convince ourselves that it's okay to drop the ball. What's easier to do is just to be complacent and give up. But what a hero does is a hero keeps listening for the light. And a hero keeps admitting that they know they do not know. And they keep praying. And they keep going back over and over. 20 years ago, we may have thought we were there, and we realize the well is so deep. The brighter your light, the darker the darkness that you will face. The stronger you are, the greater the enemy that you will face. Because we are here to expand, to move into the next dimension, to be a light unto others, to realize that we aren't real at all. And that is a nice idea until it actually starts happening. It's terrifying, it's scary, it's hard to let go, especially when we're like, well, what am I holding on to? Where's this thing I'm holding on to? And this thing we're holding on to, we can't even grasp it, and yet we cling to it. And there is no me. There is this body with this light inside of it, this light of consciousness and karma that is filling this body so that I can go around projecting on things and work it out in this lifetime and figure out that I can keep playing games with myself. But in the end, we have to sharpen the focus. We have to bring ourselves into alignment. And it is hard, but we have to keep going because there is nowhere else to go but forward. The past, 2 steps forward, 1 step back. 3 steps forward, 3 steps backward, 1 step forward. The point is that we keep getting up. We keep dusting ourselves off. We keep forgiving ourselves. We keep realizing, God, like, there isn't love there. Like, the love I thought was there isn't what I thought, because I can be unkind to myself. I can be self-destructive. I can do things that show to me that I'm not worthy, I'm not valid, I do not deserve the love that I have. We get deeply programmed by our childhood, by things that happened to us, by traumas we can't even remember in past lives, and by what we have inherited from our ancestors to value ourselves at the level at which we value ourselves. It's not our fault, but it is our responsibility. So what this is really about in this Kundalini awakening is how to take responsibility for what's happening. Because it's a nice idea, and at first a person feels, wow, something special and great is happening to me. But then we realize that we don't want to know everything that we have to know. And that kind of responsibility is very scary. And it might not even be a conscious realization, but it's going on there. And sometimes we're just like, God, I'm just like tired of it. Can I just have a break? And yes, you can have a break. You can have a break. But life, like Krishna said, however you try to avoid this battle, you will be called to fight this battle. And we don't mean to fight to oppress and suppress and deny certain parts of ourselves and push them down and convince ourselves how bad we are so now that we can be good. No. It's a subtle battle. The battle is how to see the truth in both sides and how to bring both sides into harmony. how to bring all those parts of ourselves into an alliance of light, so that while they may want a little bit different things, we're all going in the same direction. And that is done through yoga. That is done through things that are done in ways that we can't exactly explain, but we don't need to talk about all these different problems forever and let our minds spin out. What we need to do is get into our body, do the practices and the breathing and the chanting and the prayer and the tuning into the light. This is the magic of our existence. It's not, I'm going to do this because it's something else and all I can really handle is regular life. It is regular life. It's how we affect the regular life when we are in a cycle of spiritual growth, so that our spiritual growth actually leads to progress rather than us just living in a greater fear than we were before because of the fact that we can't let go of things that are being taken from us, whether those are attitudes or habits or actual things. Things get taken, but when we understand that it is all God's grace and that what got taken is not nearly as great as what is being received, when we open our heart to why, when we open our heart to this is all for me, everything is working as it should work, and I can just relax and embrace what is happening, and I can be like the Tao, and I can stop trying so hard and just let myself calm down and accept the way that it is and keep moving toward progress for myself. And that progress is 100% dependent upon not religion, not obedience to any one person or any cult or any way of thinking, but it is in surrender to a higher power. The higher power is a part of you, but who we're talking to now is not the higher power. It is the habits, it is the persona, it is the consciousness that thinks it knows that doesn't know. And this is why we go back and forth so much, and this is why we get frustrated and confused and we get depressed and we look for crutches, because the path is that we keep letting go. And it will never be easy, because every time we get stronger, the tests will get more intense. Can you let go? Can you let God? You said you had trust, but do you really? When push comes to shove, who are we? Who are we? And in the end, how fearless can we be? Because this thing is all about fear and control. Control is because we have fear. We don't know. We can't control. We can't determine. We want this. We don't know if we're going to get this. We become manipulative. We power trip. We panic. We freak out. And it just keeps it going. And we all do it. And we can see by the quality of how we feel while we're doing it that it's just not the way to go. And when we go that way, it's a part of the path for us to learn and grow. And we come back and we pull back. And once again, we have nowhere left to go but to God. And if you think you do, you're fooling yourself. There's nothing left to do but to go to God. And we all have life and we all have responsibilities. But those responsibilities circle around the sun of the light within us. And when that happens, our life comes into alignment. Our purpose becomes clear. We live in peace. Our life makes sense. And we stop running from phantoms that we can't control. We just keep coming back to the love. Keep dropping our mind. Keep coming back to our body. Keep letting go. Keep finding the love and the compassion for how far we have come, and for how much we have done, and for how much grace shines down on us. Let us have appreciation for our life and for the beautiful story being told by everything that we've been through, that we've overcome, by all the beauty that we have created around us. Let's keep creating that beauty starting from the inside out. Om Mani Padme.